While, of course, we're not happy about having a decrease in any sector of our tourism, we could see that other countries in the Caribbean, in our region, also experience those losses. That had to do primarily with scheduling and when the demand was from our North American neighbors for cruise tourism. And what the cruise lines have told us is, last year was an exceptionally warm year in the winter, and that's where the majority of their bookings happening. So we're hoping with the horrible winter that they're experiencing right now, that will translate into more travel to warmer climates such as Belize.
Okay, so the drop in cruise tourism arrivals, so what may that be due to? Is there any less cruise ships coming in, or what?
It was a reduction in the scheduling based on the demand that the cruise lines were having. However, this year's figures, even with the loss of the 10 ships that Carnival had given us notice on, we're still looking very good this year for cruise arrivals.
Okay, because then you have that there's a balance there with the airport arrivals and the cruise. Okay, the cruise is going down, but then there's the airport arrivals being more. So what does this mean? There's basically a balance there. What does this mean?
I wouldn't call it a balance. There are two completely different tourism products. You have people who just love cruises and that's their dynamic, and they don't want to do overnight. You have persons who do cruise to see where they would like to go in future for overnight. The overnight sector, by and large, tend not to be persons who want to go on cruise. So I think, yes, it's an overall plus for the country when you see growth in overnight figures, because of course overnight stay longer and they spend more money. So that having an increase in the overnight arrivals helps the economy in a more real way, but I'm not downplaying the importance of cruise tourism either. Cruise tourism brings a lot of benefits to our country, and we're working very hard to ensure that we can continue to grow the cruise tourism industry in Belize as well as the overnight sector. So ideally what we want to see is a growth in both sectors.
Okay, so to make that growth happen, what are some of the things that the BTB might already be thinking about in doing to get more arrivals?
Well, there are certain things that the Belize Tourism Board is directly doing, insofar as if you've looked in any of the newspapers, we are currently advertising for a new position within the Belize Tourism Board, which is the Director of Cruise and Regional Initiatives. This is because we feel that it's important that we have one point person here at the Belize Tourism Board, that's all they deal with, and they are the point person for both our local industry as well as our foreign partners with regards to cruise. And so we're very actively looking at bettering those relationships with the cruise lines to encourage them to continue coming to Belize. We also recognize, and the government also recognizes, that being a tender port challenges us in that it constrains us to how many ships we can have in a day. And so, as you know, and as the Prime Minister announced in his New Year's speech, the government is definitely looking towards berthing policy, and they are seeking investors to build a facility where the ships can pull up straight up against the port. But that is happening at a larger government issue.